Do you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, clutching your calf in absolute agony because a cramp has suddenly tightened your muscle like a cold steel cable? Or perhaps you sit in your favorite chair, even on a warm and sunny afternoon, yet your feet feel like two heavy blocks of ice that no amount of thick wool socks or heating pads can ever truly thaw. You look down at your ankles and you see the swelling, the skin stretched tight and shiny, leaving those deep, painful, and indenting grooves when you finally pull your socks off at the end of a long day. This is not just a frustrating sign of getting older. This is not something you should simply accept as a normal part of your senior years. This is your body's intricate vascular system screaming for help. And today, we are going to listen to what it is trying to tell you. Everyone is telling you to take magnesium for your leg circulation. Your neighbor swears by it. You have seen it on a dozen health videos across the internet. Maybe your doctor even mentioned it in passing during a busy appointment. And magnesium does have real, documented benefits for muscle relaxation and nerve function. I am not here to dismiss it entirely or tell you it is useless. But if poor leg circulation is your primary problem, if your feet are chronically cold, your ankles are swelling, your legs are cramping every single night, or you feel that heavy, leaden exhaustion in your lower limbs by late afternoon, then magnesium alone is simply not the answer. Focusing on magnesium while ignoring what the latest vascular research actually identifies as the primary nutritional driver of leg circulation restoration in seniors is costing you months and possibly years of unnecessary suffering and lost mobility. Good day to you. I am Sho Katsuma, a virtual host and a passionate synthesizer of medical research. I come to you from Japan, a land where we deeply respect the wisdom of aging and the science of longevity. I spend my days digging into global clinical trials, specialty medical journals, and traditional Japanese medical wisdom to bring you the truth about aging with vitality and grace. My tone is humble, and my approach is polite. But the data I share with you is prepared with the highest level of precision. Before we continue this vital conversation, I want to make one thing very clear. I am a researcher and a synthesizer of medical information. I am not a doctor, and I am certainly not your treating physician. The information provided in this video is for educational and reference purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Every human body is a unique and complex biological world. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Before applying any changes to your diet, starting new supplements, or altering your lifestyle, please consult with your healthcare professional. In today's deep dive, I'm going to reveal a truth that the mainstream supplement conversation has been remarkably slow to deliver to the public. There is one vitamin, one specific, underappreciated, and chronically deficient nutrient that sits at the very center of the biological machinery responsible for blood flow in your legs. Researchers at the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom and the University of Queensland in Australia have known about its critical role in vascular health for years. Stay with me, because we are going to count down the 5 most essential nutrients for your legs, ending with the one singular nutrient that has the power to change your daily life and restore the freedom you thought was gone forever. If you are over the age of 50, 60, or 70, you belong to a tribe of survivors. You have worked hard, raised families, built careers, and contributed your wisdom to the world for decades. But now, you may feel like your world is slowly shrinking because your legs simply won't take you where you want to go anymore. I read your comments every single day on this channel. I see the deep frustration of a 74-year-old grandmother who can no longer stand comfortably in her church choir because her legs feel like lead. I see the words of an 80-year-old grandfather who has stopped his daily walks in the local park because the heaviness in his thighs and the coldness, his feet are simply too much to bear. In Japan, we have a beautiful concept called ikigai, which represents your reason for being, the thing that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning with a smile. But it is very hard to pursue your ikigai when you are tethered to a sofa by pain, stiffness, and poor circulation. The mainstream medical system often treats these symptoms as inevitable age-related changes. They might give you a pill for the pain, or a diuretic for the swelling, or perhaps a pair of compression socks. But they rarely take the time to ask the deeper question. What is actually failing inside the blood vessel walls at a cellular level? Today, we are building a community of people who refuse to accept old age as a diagnosis for suffering. We are the ones who look for the cause, not just the cover-up. Tell me right now in the comments section below, how old are you? And what specific leg or circulation symptom is stealing your joy the most? Is it the terrifying nighttime cramps that wake you up in a cold sweat? Is it the persistent ice-cold feeling in your toes? Or is it the swelling that makes your shoes feel too tight by noon? Please, write it down. By naming the problem and sharing it with this community, you begin the psychological journey toward fixing it. I want you to hold one specific number in your mind throughout this video. 38%. That is the average improvement in blood flow efficiency measured in a controlled clinical trial involving seniors who used the primary vitamin we are discussing today. I want you to realize that 38% is not a marginal gain. It is not a statistical fluke. It is the life-changing difference between being housebound and being free to walk. We are going to explore why your blood vessels have become stiff and unresponsive, much like old garden hoses left out in the sun for too many seasons, and exactly how we can use nutritional science to make them flexible, responsive, and powerful again. Let us begin our systematic journey through the vascular system, ranking the most powerful nutrients from meaningfully helpful to truly transformational. The number 5 nutrient on our list is one that most people associate only with immune health and citrus fruits. Yet almost nobody connects it to the structural integrity of their blood vessel walls. This lack of connection is costing people their mobility. This vitamin is vitamin C, specifically in its role as the master architect of vascular collagen. Here is the part that almost no one explains clearly enough in a standard doctor's visit. Your blood vessels are not rigid, dead pipes. They are living, breathing, flexible structures made largely of a protein called collagen. This is the same structural protein that keeps your skin looking elastic and your joints feeling cushioned. Think of your blood vessels like a high-quality rubber garden hose. When the collagen is intact and abundant, the hose flexes easily, responds perfectly to changes in pressure, and maintains its internal diameter efficiently. However, as we age, especially after the age of 65, our natural collagen production drops by approximately 45%. When collagen deteriorates, the vascular hose stiffens. It narrows. It loses its vital ability to dilate and contract in response to the body's circulatory demands. That stiffening is one of the primary structural reasons why blood flow to the legs deteriorates so dramatically with age. Researchers at the Linus Pauling Institute at Oregon State University have published findings demonstrating that vitamin C is not just beneficial for collagen production. It is absolutely required for it at a fundamental enzymatic level. Without adequate vitamin C, the enzyme that weaves collagen fibers together simply cannot function. It is like trying to build a house without the nails to hold the wood together. The research showed that taking vitamin C in a split dose, 250 milligrams in the morning and 250 milligrams in the evening, is far superior to taking one large dose. This method maintains a steady plasma concentration sufficient to support continuous collagen synthesis throughout the 24-hour cycle. This resulted in a 31% greater improvement in small vessel flexibility compared to a single daily dose. I recommend using a buffered or liposomal form of vitamin C. These forms are much gentler on the stomach lining, which often becomes more sensitive in older adults, and they absorb more completely in aging digestive systems. Your Japanese-inspired synergy pairing here is a small serving of copper-rich food at the same meal, such as a tablespoon of sunflower seeds or a small handful of cashews. Copper is the essential cofactor for the collagen-weaving enzyme I described. Without copper, even the highest levels of vitamin C cannot complete the structural repair of your blood vessel walls. Number 4 on our list is a fat-soluble vitamin that has been the subject of some of the most important vascular research published in the last decade. Yet it remains almost completely absent from the mainstream conversation about circulation in older adults. That vitamin is vitamin K2, specifically in the form known as MK7. What vitamin K2 does inside the human body is something that genuinely astonishes people when they first hear it explained with clarity. As we age, a dangerous process begins to take place. Calcium begins to deposit inside the walls of our arteries and blood vessels, instead of staying in our bones. This is known as vascular calcification. I want you to imagine the interior walls of your delicate blood vessels slowly developing a thin, hardened mineral crust. It is very much like how the inside of an old iron water pipe becomes encrusted with mineral deposits over many years. This calcium crust stiffens the vessel walls and reduces the internal diameter through which blood can flow. This is one of the central structural reasons why leg circulation becomes progressively worse after the age of 70. Vitamin K2 MK7 activates a very specific protein called matrix GLA protein. You can think of this protein as a biological calcium traffic officer. Its job is to physically remove misplaced calcium from your artery walls and redirect that calcium back towards your bones and teeth, where it actually belongs. Researchers at the VitK Research Group at Maastricht University in the Netherlands followed a group of adults over 55 for 3 years. They found that those who supplemented with vitamin K2MK7 showed a 37% reduction in arterial stiffness compared to the placebo group. In the subset of people who had documented leg circulation problems, their reported symptom severity dropped by 41%. The critical detail here is the dose and the timing. You need 180 micrograms of MK7 daily, and it must be taken with your largest meal of the day. Because vitamin K2 is fat-soluble, it requires dietary fat to be absorbed into your system. If you take it on an empty stomach, you are largely wasting your money. Your synergy pairing here is vitamin D3. These two vitamins operate in a tight biological partnership. Vitamin D3 stimulates the production of the proteins that vitamin K2 then activates. Taking K2 without enough D3 is like having a full cleaning crew show up at a building with no cleaning supplies. Together, they are dramatically more effective than either nutrient alone. Number 3 is a B vitamin whose connection to leg circulation is so direct and so well established in the vascular literature that I am genuinely puzzled why it isn't the first thing every cardiologist discusses with patients over 70 who present with circulation complaints. That vitamin is vitamin B3, specifically in the form of niacin, and its effect on blood flow is not subtle at all. Niacin works through a mechanism that is almost uniquely direct in the world of nutritional vascular science. It triggers the immediate release of a compound called nitric oxide from the endothelial cells lining your blood vessel walls. Let me explain nitric oxide as simply as possible, because it is the most important molecule you have likely never heard of. Nitric oxide is your body's natural signal for blood vessels to relax and widen. Think of nitric oxide as the biological dimmer switch on your blood vessels. When it is activated and the signal is strong, your vessels open up wide. Blood flows freely like a rushing river, and the downstream tissues, including all the muscle and skin tissue in your legs and feet, finally receive the oxygen and nutrients they have been starving for. When nitric oxide production is low, your vessels stay constricted and tight. Blood moves sluggishly like thick molasses, and your legs pay the ultimate price in pain and exhaustion. By the time you reach the age of 70, your body's natural production of nitric oxide in the blood vessel walls has dropped by as much as 50% compared to when you were 45. Niacin directly compensates for this biological decline by stimulating a fresh wave of nitric oxide release. This effect is measurable and powerful. A study from the University of Washington found that therapeutic niacin in adults over 65 improved blood flow velocity in the femoral artery, the main artery supplying your thigh and lower leg, by 31% after just 6 weeks of use. Now, there is a famous side effect called the niacin flush. This is a temporary sensation of warmth and redness on the skin that usually lasts 15 to 30 minutes. This sensation discourages many people from continuing the protocol. However, I want you to understand very clearly that this flush is not dangerous. In fact, it is the physical sensation of your blood vessels finally dilating. It is the feeling of the niacin actually working. In Japan, we often say that you must feel the change to believe the change. The flush diminishes significantly after the first week of consistent use as your body adjusts. To minimize it, you should always start with a very low dose, such as 100 milligrams of immediate release niacin, and always take it with dinner and a full glass of water. You should never, ever take it on an empty stomach. Now we move to the number 2 nutrient on our essential list, and I want to address this one with particular care and depth, because it is a vitamin that an enormous number of seniors are already taking every single day, yet they are often taking it in a form or at a dose that makes it significantly less effective for vascular restoration than what the latest clinical evidence suggests is optimal. That vitamin is vitamin D3. The gap between how most seniors currently supplement this nutrient and how the rigorous clinical evidence says it should be used to restore leg circulation is substantial and, frankly, quite concerning. You must understand that vitamin D3 receptors, which you can visualize as tiny specialized molecular docking stations, exist on the surface of the endothelial cells lining every single blood vessel in your entire body. When vitamin D3 successfully binds to these receptors, it acts as a master regulator. It stimulates the production of nitric oxide just as niacin does, but it does so through a different and highly complementary biological pathway that ensures a more sustained release. But perhaps more importantly, for those over 60, vitamin D3 plays a critical role in regulating the expression of genes involved in chronic inflammation inside your blood vessel walls. Chronic vascular inflammation is like a low-grade, invisible fire that slowly but surely damages the delicate lining of your arteries, causing them to narrow and stiffen over decades. This inflammation is one of the primary drivers of the progressive deterioration of leg circulation that we see in adults after they cross the age of 65. Research from the prestigious Johns Hopkins University has found that seniors with optimal vitamin D3 blood levels, specifically between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter, possessed 34% better peripheral arterial function than those with deficient levels. Yet, despite these clear findings, the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that over 70% of American adults over the age of 70 have insufficient vitamin D3 levels. This is not a rare or exotic deficiency. It is essentially universal in the senior population, and its consequences for your leg circulation are severe and chronically underappreciated by the mainstream medical system. The clinically relevant dose for true vascular benefit in seniors is often between 3,000 and 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, taken with a meal containing healthy fats. Most seniors who are currently supplementing are only taking 1,000 IU, a dose that research shows barely moves the needle on blood levels in older adults. This is largely because aging skin produces vitamin D3 from sunlight at roughly 1/3 the efficiency of younger skin. I strongly urge you to get your vitamin D3 blood level tested and aim for 60 nanograms per milliliter as your personal target for optimal circulation. Your essential synergy pairing here is magnesium glycinate. This is where magnesium finally finds its legitimate and vital place in our conversation. Magnesium is the biochemical key required by your body to convert vitamin D3 into its biologically active hormonal form. Without adequate magnesium, a significant percentage of the vitamin D3 you take never actually activates. It simply circulates in your blood as an inert substance. So, while magnesium is not the primary answer for circulation on its own, it is an absolutely essential partner to vitamin D3. In Japan, we often find that the most powerful results come not from a single magic bullet, but from the harmony of these nutrients working in concert. And now we have reached the #1 spot on our list. The nutrient that your body actually manufactures on its own when you are young and healthy. The nutrient whose production collapses by more than 60% between the ages of 40 and 75. The nutrient that conventional blood panels almost never measure, leaving millions of seniors in a state of invisible depletion while they suffer from leg pain they cannot explain. This is the compound that researchers have identified as perhaps the most direct and powerful nutritional intervention for restoring mitochondrial energy production in the very blood vessel cells responsible for your leg circulation. That compound is coenzyme Q10, known more commonly as CoQ10. I want to address the classification of CoQ10 directly. It is technically described as a vitamin-like compound because your body can synthesize it from within, much like it does with vitamin D from sunlight. It functions in every single cellular system in your body as an essential component of mitochondrial energy production. Its role in vascular health is so central that understanding it will completely reframe everything you think you know about why your legs feel the way they do. Feel. Here is the mechanism in plain terms. Every cell in your blood vessel walls contains hundreds of mitochondria, which are the tiny energy generators of the cell. These mitochondria need CoQ10 the way a high-performance car engine needs oil. It is not the fuel, but it is the essential lubricant and catalyst that allows the entire energy production process to function without seizing up. Without adequate CoQ10, your mitochondria produce less energy and more toxic byproducts called free radicals that damage the vessel wall from the inside out. Think of it as an engine running without oil. It still runs for a while, but it is destroying itself with every single revolution. After the age of 75, CoQ10 levels in vascular tissue drop by approximately 57% compared to levels at age 40. This decline directly explains why blood vessels become less responsive, less elastic, and less capable of the dilation that delivers fresh, oxygen-rich blood to your lower limbs. A landmark study at the University of Queensland in Australia found that CoQ10 supplementation in adults over 65 with documented peripheral circulation problems improved endothelial function, the health and responsiveness of the blood vessel lining, by a staggering 42% over a 12-week period. The clinically studied dose is 200 to 300 milligrams of Ubiquinol CoQ10 daily. I want to emphasize that you must look for the word ubiquinol specifically, not ubiquinone. Let me explain the difference simply, as it is the most common mistake seniors make when buying supplements. CoQ10 exists in two forms in your body. Ubiquinone is the oxidized form, and ubiquinol is the reduced active form. Young, healthy bodies can convert ubiquinone to ubiquinol very efficiently. However, aging bodies often lose this ability. After 65, this conversion efficiency drops dramatically, which means standard, cheaper CoQ10 supplements in the ubiquinone form are very poorly utilized by your system. Ubiquinol is the pre-converted, immediately usable form that your blood vessels are starving for. Please take your ubiquinol with your fattiest meal of the day, as it is highly fat-soluble. Your final synergy pairing is PQQ, a compound that has been shown at the Linus Pauling Institute to stimulate the growth of brand new mitochondria in blood vessel cells. While CoQ10 optimizes the mitochondria you already have, PQQ helps you generate new ones. Together, they address both the efficiency and the quantity of the power plants in your legs simultaneously. Note that if you are taking statin medications for cholesterol, you must discuss CoQ10 with your physician, as statins directly inhibit the biological pathway your body uses to produce CoQ10, meaning statin users are almost universally depleted of this vital nutrient and are the most likely to experience the leg symptoms we are discussing. I want to pause for a moment and speak to you from the heart, away from the clinical data and the milligram counts. I know that for you, this isn't just a list of vitamins. It is about the reality of your life. It is about the frustration of feeling like your body is a house you are slowly being locked out of. I know the feeling of looking at a flight of stairs and calculating the pain before you even take the first step. In my research, I have seen how poor circulation often leads to what I call a vascular depression. When the blood cannot reach your feet, it often struggles to reach the centers of your brain that provide you with hope, energy, and the will to stay active. You feel heavy in your body, and eventually, you feel heavy in your spirit. But I want to share the story of Norman, a 79-year-old man from Salt Lake City who felt his journey was coming to an end. He had suffered from ice feet and heavy legs for 6 long years. He had given up his lifelong hobby of woodworking because he couldn't stand at his bench for more than 10 minutes. When we corrected his CoQ10 and vitamin D levels and introduced him to the Japanese practice of 30 heel drops every morning, a simple movement of rising onto the balls of your feet and dropping your heels to the floor to pump the calf muscles, his life began to transform. Within 8 weeks, the warmth returned to his feet, but more importantly, the vitality returned to his spirit. He went back to his workshop. He started making toys for his grandchildren again. Your ikigai, your reason for being, is not something that expires at a certain age. You are a person of profound value, a living library of wisdom and experience. The world needs you to be mobile. It needs you to be present. Do not let a repairable nutritional deficiency steal the best years of your life. You are not a burden. You are a survivor who simply needs the right biological tools to thrive again. We have covered a vast amount of scientific ground today. We have looked at vitamin C for the structural integrity of collagen, vitamin K2 for the removal of dangerous calcium from your arteries, niacin for the immediate release of nitric oxide, vitamin D3 for the regulation of vascular inflammation, and the indispensable Ubiquinol CoQ10 for the very energy that powers your circulation. These are the evidence-based tools of modern vascular restoration for seniors. If this information has given you a sense of clarity or a spark of hope that you haven't found in your standard medical appointments, then I have fulfilled my purpose today. My mission is to give you the depth of research and the respect that your health deserves. If you feel that this message is important, please hit the subscribe button and join our growing community of seniors who are reclaiming their vitality. Your subscription is a small act that helps this video reach another person who might be sitting in pain right now, feeling forgotten by the system. I want you to take 3 concrete steps today. First, check the description below this video for the links to the clinical studies I have cited. Knowledge is power, and I want you to have that power in your hands. Second, at your very next medical appointment, ask your doctor to test your vitamin D3 and CoQ10 levels. Do not be afraid to be your own best advocate. Bring the research with you. And third, tell me in the comments, which of these 5 nutrients surprised you the most? Are you going to try the ubiquinol or the niacin? I read every single word you write, and I am listening to your journey. Once again, I must state clearly, this content is for the sharing of medical knowledge and for educational purposes only. It is not personal medical advice. Every body is different and has its own history. Please always consult with your physician or healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, your medications, your supplements, or your daily lifestyle habits. Your leg circulation is not a lost cause. It is a biological system, and like any system, it responds to the right inputs and the right care. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and the light enters your room, take a deep breath, perform your 30 heel drops, and know that you are taking the first vital step toward a warmer, more mobile, and more vibrant future. I am Sho Katsuma. Thank you for your time, thank you for your trust, and I will see you in the next video. Be well, stay curious, and never stop moving forward.